I would look for inconsistency, as I did last time when we talked, because President Obama dropped untold number of bombs on countries that were not covered by the AUMF. Syria, Somalia, Yemen, thousands upon thousands of bombs that were not congressionally approved. So did Bill Clinton in Kosovo and Bosnia. So we have seen this from every administration. So I require criticism to be consistent when it comes to this application of the War Powers Act. That being said, Congressman,
it was wrong then and it's wrong now.
I heard you, and I appreciate that. That being said, the War Powers Act in and of itself, the constitutionality is not clear, and the President, the Commander-in-Chief, under Article 2, needs to have broad leeway and power to do what he can do to preserve America's interests. And I think that's what we've seen here. Not a declaration of war, not a prolonged invasion, but simply a bombing, as we've seen in the past, to ensure that Iran does not have nuclear capabilities.
But Will, we haven't seen that. We don't even know what we've seen. There's been no briefing to Congress. There's been no basic information. There's been no debate. There have been no votes. There's been nothing. So you know, when you
the
say
president did send a letter on Monday to satisfy the War Powers Act. Congress was informed on Monday satisfying the War Powers Act.
All it was that letter, by the way, have your viewers Google it, have them look it up. Literally a 2-paragraph letter that just recites the legal authorities. That's all it says.
Well, I'm sure you would like more information, but that satisfies the constitutionality of the action under the War Powers Act. And what I would say, Congressman, is this. You also have to consider the national security threat. Telling you might be one thing. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett saying that she's the one that should decide, and that information, and you can appreciate operational security, that information going to someone so active on TikTok with that level of irresponsibility is a whole nother issue here when it comes to the Commander-in-Chief doing what's best for the United States of America.
Yeah, Will, by the way, this is not what I would like. You said this is what I would like, more information, like a document, a one-page document that just recites legal authorities and constitutional provisions actually doesn't give us the facts that Congress needs. This isn't what I want. This isn't what I would like. This literally is my constitutional obligation. I'm a member of Congress, and the Constitution says that it's Congress that has to authorize use of military force if there's not a self-defense need. So what I need is information. I need specific information that shows was there an imminent threat. We haven't received that yet.
The question of whether or not you have a constitutional right, Congressman, is whether or not this action satisfied either imminent threat or protection of American interests. That gives the president those powers.
And it's my obligation to determine whether that's true. And as a member of the Intelligence Committee and the Armed Services Committee, I have seen no information in the last year that would indicate that's true. If the administration has it, then they need to produce it to everybody, to Democrats, to Republicans. They need to produce it to Congress because it is Congress's role to conduct oversight and apply the facts to the law and to the Constitution to say whether or not this was authorized or not. That is literally our job.